The challenge of the void, the grand galactic chamber, hummed with the collective voices of 23 spacefaring civilizations. Crystalline structures housed the delegates of the Zentralian collective, while hovering anti-gravity platforms supported the gelatinous forms of the Maruxi Federation. The chamber, carved from a hollowed-out asteroid in the neutral Proxima Centauri system, served as the meeting place for the most powerful species in this arm of the Milky Way. High Chancellor Vexmore, a towering insectoid with iridescent carapace, tapped his ceremonial staff against the polished floor. The sound echoed through the chamber, silencing the assembled representatives. "We have received yet another application for membership," Vexmore announced, mandibles clicking with barely contained amusement. "From Sol 3. The chamber erupted in a symphony of alien laughter. Some chittered, others warbled, and a few emitted high-frequency sounds that human ears could never detect. Ambassador Tillarine of the Aquari Dominion slapped her webbed hands against her containment suit, blue fluid rippling with her mirth. "Earth?" she gasped through her translator. "The species that still burns fossil fuels? The ones who took 12,000 years to develop spaceflight after inventing agriculture?" "The very same," Vexmore confirmed, projecting a holographic image of Earth in the center of the chamber. "They've submitted what they call impressive technological advancements as proof of their readiness." The hologram shifted to show humanity's proudest achievements: the International Space Station, the Mars colonies, the Jupiter mining operations. "They haven't even developed gravitic propulsion," scoffed Representative Zorn of the hegemony, his 9 eyes blinking asynchronously. "Their fastest vessels would take decades to reach the nearest council outpost." Ambassador Ix of the ancient Vadraxi reclined in her crystalline throne. The Vadraxi had achieved spaceflight 1,000,000 years before humans had learned to make fire. "I propose we give them the Void Challenge," she said, her voice like wind chimes in a storm. The chamber fell silent. The Void Challenge was traditionally reserved for species on the cusp of true interstellar capability. It had a failure rate of 99.2%. No emerging civilization had passed it in over 10,000 years. "That seems excessive," murmured Delegate Gornthal of the Centrixi Collective. "They are primitive, yes, but the Void Challenge would almost certainly mean their extinction. Is that not preferable to wasting our time?" Ix replied coldly. "If by some miracle they survive, they will have proven their worth. If not, we need not entertain further applications from Sol 3 for another millennium." High Chancellor Vexmore considered the proposal, his compound eyes reflecting the holographic image of Earth. "All in favor?" One by one, the representatives signaled their agreement. Even Gornthal reluctantly added his vote. "It is decided," Vexmore declared. "Sol 3 will face the Void Challenge. They are to navigate the Maelstrom Nebula and retrieve a council beacon from its center. They have 1 Earth year to prepare." Captain Elena Reyes stood in the control room of the Kennedy Space Center, staring at the alien transmission. At 42, she had spent 20 years in NASA, commanding 3 Mars missions and the first crewed expedition to Europa. Gray streaked her black hair, tied back in a practical ponytail, and her brown eyes reflected both exhaustion and determination. "They're not even trying to hide their contempt," remarked Dr. Aidan Chen, the mission's lead scientist. A brilliant physicist who had pioneered Earth's limited understanding of dark energy, Aidan had been the first to decrypt the alien message. "The Maelstrom Nebula," Elena said, tapping the screen. "According to their provided star charts, it's a region of space with intense radiation, gravitational anomalies, and something they call void fractures. No species has successfully navigated it without FTL technology." "Which we don't have," Aidan finished. "It's a suicide mission." General William Harris, representing the United Earth Defense Council, crossed his arms. "Then we refuse their challenge." Elena turned to face him. "And confirm their belief that we're not ready? That humanity doesn't belong among the stars?" "Better than sending our best people to die in space," the general countered. "What if we could do it?" The voice came from the back of the room. Mira Patel, a 30-year-old engineer with a reputation for unconventional solutions, stepped forward. Not with FTL, but with something else. Elena raised an eyebrow. I'm listening. We've been developing a new shield technology based on manipulating electromagnetic fields, Mir explained. Originally for protection against solar radiation during long-term space missions, but with some modifications, it could protect against the maelstrom's radiation, Aiden finished, eyes widening. But the gravitational anomalies, we use them, Mira said simply. Like sailing ships used ocean currents. We map them, predict them, and ride them. With what data? General Harris demanded. We know nothing about this nebula except what these aliens have told us. Then we gather data, Elena decided. We send probes ahead of us. Unmanned missions to map the maelstrom. In a year? The general laughed bitterly. Impossible. Elena smiled for the first time since receiving the alien challenge. General, humanity's greatest achievements have all been called impossible, until we did them. 6 months later, Elena stood in the hangar of the newly constructed orbital assembly station, looking up at the vessel that would carry humanity's hopes into the unknown. They had named it Odysseus, after the legendary Greek hero who had overcome impossible odds to find his way home. Unlike the sleek advanced ships of the Galactic Council races, Odysseus was a patchwork creation. Its core was a modified International Space Station module. Its propulsion system combined conventional rockets with experimental ion drives. Its shields were Mira's creation, untested against the full fury of the maelstrom but showing promise in simulations. She's not pretty, remarked Commander James Wu, who would serve as Elena's second-in-command. A veteran of the Chinese space program, James had volunteered immediately when the call went out for the mission. But she has character. I don't need pretty, Elena replied. I need survivable. Their crew consisted of 28 specialists from 18 nations. Every person was the best in their field, and every person had volunteered despite knowing the risks. They carried the weight of 7 billion souls on their shoulders. Dr. Chen approached, tablet in hand. Final probe data is in. We've mapped about 62% of the maelstrom's outer region. It's not encouraging. He showed her the readings. Gravitational, forces that could tear their ship apart. Radiation levels that would kill an unprotected human in seconds, and strange energy patterns that defied current scientific understanding. What about the void fractures? Elena asked. Still don't know exactly what they are, Aiden admitted. The probes that encountered them stopped transmitting immediately, but we've identified several regions where they seem to cluster. We can avoid those. Elena nodded, studying the data. And the council beacon? At the very center, as they said, surrounded by the worst of everything. Of course it is. Elena handed the tablet back. We launch in 2 days. Make sure everyone gets some rest. Launch day arrived with clear skies and global attention. The United Earth broadcast the event to every corner of the planet. For the first time in history, humans were united in purpose to prove their species worthy of the stars. In orbit, Odysseus took shape as its final components were assembled. The crew boarded one by one, each carrying a small token from home. Elena brought her grandfather's compass, a reminder that humans had been finding their way through hostile environments long before GPS or star charts. As they prepared for departure, a transmission arrived from Earth. The Secretary General of the United Nations appeared on the main screen. Captain Reyes, crew of the Odysseus, she said solemnly. You carry with you the hopes and dreams of humanity. Whatever happens in the maelstrom, know that your courage has already united our world in a way nothing else could. Safe journey, and return to us if you can. Elena acknowledged the message, then turned to her crew. Final systems check. One by one, they confirmed their readiness. James at navigation, Aiden monitoring the shield systems, Mira at engineering, Dr. Sofia Ivanova, their medical officer, Lieutenant Rodriguez at communications, 23 others, each essential, each prepared to face the unknown. Odysseus, you are cleared for departure, came the voice from Mission Control. Elena settled into the captain's chair. Engage main engines. The ship broke free from Earth's orbit, accelerating toward the distant region of space that contained the Maelstrom Nebula. Their journey would take 2 months at maximum speed, leaving them 10 months to navigate the nebula and return, if they could. As Earth dwindled behind them, Elena addressed her crew. We've been told this challenge is impossible, that no emerging civilization has succeeded in 10,000 years, that we're destined to fail. She paused, looking at each face in turn. But they don't know humans. We were climbing mountains before we had proper shoes. We were crossing oceans before we had reliable compasses. We were flying through the air before we fully understood aerodynamics. She stood, facing the view screen that now showed the stars ahead of them. History is full of impossible challenges that became stepping stones for human achievement. This is just one more. 2 months passed in the vastness of space. The crew, trained, prepared, and studied the probe data obsessively. They ran simulations of the Maelstrom's conditions, refining their strategies and backup plans. When they finally reached the nebula's outer boundary, reality proved far more terrifying than simulations. The Maelstrom lived up to its name, a swirling chaos of cosmic gases, gravitational eddies, and radiation storms that painted the void in haunting colors of purple, green, and crimson. "It's beautiful," whispered Mira from her station. "Beautiful things can kill you just as dead as ugly ones," James responded, already plotting potential paths through the churning chaos. Elena studied the nebula on the main screen. Shields. At maximum. Begin approach on the charted course. Slow and steady. Odysseus edged forward into the Maelstrom's embrace. Almost immediately, the ship began to shudder as gravitational forces pulled at its frame. Warning signals flashed across multiple stations. "Hull integrity at 92% and dropping," reported Lieutenant Commander Kaido from Engineering. "The stresses are exceeding our models." Elena gripped her chair's armrests. "Mira, redirect shield power to structural reinforcement. James, find us a calmer path." They worked frantically, adjusting their course meter by meter, fighting to keep the ship intact. Hours passed in tense silence, broken only by technical updates and command responses. 8 hours into the nebula, they detected something unexpected. "Captain," called Rodriguez from communications, "I'm picking up a signal. Not the council beacon, something else." Elena frowned. "Source?" "Approximately 12 kilometers to port. I think it's a distress signal." Aiden checked his readings. "There's definitely something there. A structure or vessel of some kind, caught in a gravitational eddy." Elena considered their options. The mission parameters were clear. Retrieve the beacon and return to Earth. Any deviation increased the risk of failure. But a distress signal. "Change course," she ordered. "Let's investigate." "Captain," General Harris's voice came through her private comm unit. Before the mission, he had insisted on a direct communication line for military oversight. "This is not part of the mission. The fate of Earth depends on your success." "The fate of Earth depends on showing who we are," Elena responded. "And humans don't ignore calls for help. Not even in the Maelstrom." She cut the connection before he could argue further. Odysseus altered course, fighting against the nebula's currents to approach the signal source. As they drew closer, their sensors revealed the truth. Not one vessel but 3, trapped in a gravitational anomaly that held them in a slow, deadly orbit around each other. The ships were alien in design, with sleek lines and materials that shimmered even in the nebula's chaotic light. "Those are council vessels," Aiden confirmed, checking against the data they'd been provided. "Zentralian and Aquari designs, and one I don't recognize." "Life signs?" Elena asked. Sophia checked the medical sensors. "Affirmative. Multiple species, most in distress. These ships have been trapped here for some time." Elena stood. "Decision made. Prepare rescue operations. We're getting them out." As Odysseus moved into position, they established communication with the trapped vessels. The first response came in the form of an audio transmission, translated through the system provided in the Council's challenge package. "Unidentified vessel," came a wary voice. "Identify yourself and your purpose. If you are scavengers, be warned. These ships are still under Council protection." Elena activated the response channel. "This is Captain Elena Reyes of the Earth vessel Odysseus. We detected your distress signal and came to offer assistance." There was a long pause before the reply came. "Earth? Sol 3? Impossible. No pre-FTL. Species could navigate the maelstrom." Elena allowed herself a small smile. "And yet, here we are, prepare for rescue operations. We're bringing you home."